If there's one thing I love about video games, it's that logo.
In the early 90s, Rare was a very hardworking and successful gaming developer for many different consoles, releasing something nearly every month. If you want to be pedantic, over 40 games in 5 years. But Chris and Tim Stamper, the bosses of Rare, decided they wanted to make games they wanted, not just for financial gain. So with the release of the Super Nintendo, they limited the number of games being made, only working on the Battletoads franchise. And with the money made from the NES titles, they used it to purchase ultra high-end silicon graphics computers worth £80,000 each to create 3D models in motion, making Rare one of the most high-tech video game developers in the world. Now, obviously, a Super Nintendo can't render models like this. What Rare did was use silicon graphics computers to do all the rendering and movements of the 3D models, and just copy those pre-rendered graphics onto a Super Nintendo cartridge. Rare was so proud of their achievement, they showed off these graphics to Nintendo using a boxing tech demo. What happened?
You know the reception was positive when Nintendo decided to purchase a 49% stake in the company, making them a second-party developer. Hence the beginning of a golden partnership that would last through the early 2000s. You know what I mean.
Because of this, Rare, now called Rareware, were also able to pick some of the least popular Nintendo franchises to develop a game for. Donkey Kong was their choice. Apart from the Game Boy remake, Donkey Kong hadn't been seen in over 10 years, and Nintendo had no intention of reviving the monkey that helped put the company in the video game spotlight. It was now Rareware's turn to put Donkey Kong along with his friend Diddy Kong back up there, with the release of Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo. I like how at the beginning when he explodes out of his house to grab a banana, I mean talk about desperate, and obviously he arrives to find there isn't any.
And that's the plot right there. It's about a couple of monkeys out to get their bananas back. Seeing that it's a platformer, that's all you need.
Donkey Kong is running through the jungle with bananas to collect, with the option to use barrels to attack anyone that gets in his way. There are many different barrels, including your basic barrel, checkpoints, barrel blasting, TNT, barrels of steel, and DK, which spawns a second monkey. There you are, Diddy Kong. Which gives me a chance to explain the controls. They're responsive, but sensitive at times, and being new to this game, I tend to slip off the cliff sometimes. You can run and attack. Both Diddy and Donkey Kong have different strengths and weaknesses in that regard. Diddy Kong is faster while Donkey Kong is stronger and has an attack where you can hit the ground, which is only useful for finding bananas. If you have both of them on your journey, you can select one of them by pressing, ironically, the select button. Be careful as this game has one-hit deaths. But if you have a monkey behind, you have more than one hit point. Therefore, you need to be prepared. Collecting 100 bananas gives you an extra life. Barrels can be used to demolish through secret passages to gain easier access to lives, and there's a lot of them. On each level you have letters that spell K-O-N-G. Collecting all of them on one level gives you an extra life. Balloons give you extra lives. There are also animal statues scattered all over the island. Collect 3 of the same animal and you head into a huge bonus stage to, yep, you've guessed it, collect more extra lives. Speaking of different animals, some are stuck in a crate and can help make your journey that much easier. You have Rambi the rhino who can rip through enemies like they're made of paper. Winky the frog who can jump higher and are wasps. On Guard, the swordfish who can swim faster and attack. Espresso the ostrich who can glide and run a lot faster. And Squawks the parrot that lights up on darker levels, which should help Donkey and Diddy Kong on their difficult banana rescue. And if you as the player can't do it alone, there's a multiplayer option which is a bit like Super Mario Bros. You can take turns on beating it together or race each other to beat the game. Quick trivia, Donkey Kong in this game is actually the grandson of Donkey Kong from the arcade back in 1981, and his name is actually Cranky Kong. Yeah, it works like this. Because Rareware had full control over the Donkey Kong name, they used the opportunity to create new and memorable characters in which a couple would actually be playable in future sequels. As a result, other monkey characters support your journey along the way, with Cranky Kong acting as the wise old monkey giving you hints on future levels. I mean, he's been through a lot in his life, trying to avoid Mario on the construction sites with Pauline over his shoulder, now retired and cranky. Then you have Funky Kong, who helps you travel from different spots on the island. And that's a funny looking design, a barrel with an airline stabbed through it. It obviously works if you need to go back to any secret passages you've missed, and it can also be used to travel to a saving point too. And here's where it leads to Donkey Kong's girlfriend Candy Kong, who lets you save the game. And you'll need those save spots because this is a difficult platformer. You have to be good at this game to get the best out of it, not because the levels are designed to go full pace via enemy placement, but this is quite challenging. With the expanded variety, you never know what to expect apart from a one-hit death. But with practice, you could beat the game in a fraction of the time. Donkey Kong Country proves you don't need Sega's blast processing to feel like you're blazing through levels. You know, it's surprising the levels are challenging because the boss battles are easy. I mean, why would King R. Rule put these animals there to protect the bananas?
Must be unpaid intern.
Creating a 3D-like environment is all very well, makes the game look like it's from another generation, and back then, these were some of the best graphics for a video game in general. There is one small problem I have with it, and no, it's not because they're outdated. The problem is, you can never tell where the edge of a cliff is, and in addition, the hit detection is rubbish. Being in 3D, you can never tell where the right spot is to stomp on an enemy. But what the graphics still do to this day is create an environment and atmosphere that looks beautiful. Ranging from jungles, mines, snow, forests of Endor, underwater, cabins, ships, industrial wastelands, crystal caves, and bananas. Some levels even get darker and the snow dies down as you play, which is really cool. As a result, the variety expands throughout the game where you can not only stomp and smash your way through, but ride on minecarts, explode out of barrels, and swim in yucky water.
I got to play it for the first time last year and I thought to myself, why did I wait this long?
Not growing up with the Super Nintendo is only a small reason. Also, it sounds brilliant, possibly to a fault. I mean, listen to that chomping. Hurts my teeth just listening to that. Plus, each enemy has a different noise when you stomp on them. And if you grew up with DKC as a kid, you can tell from this video that music will stick inside your head for a long time. Combined with the graphic atmosphere, it's like virtual art being painted onto your TV screen. It certainly keeps Donkey and Diddy Kong alive, like when you stomp, they do things. It's common in video games when playable characters perform actions when you do nothing for a few seconds. But this includes the level selections, when you lose a life, beat a boss, even on the start of the level. The developers actually went to the Thai Cross Zoo close to the Rare offices to research the movements of monkeys and gorillas, to not only give them character, but believability. Yeah, believability in a Super Nintendo platformer. Now you gotta give these kamikaze Kremlings credit for defending the bananas to the death. Now that's persistent.
It was released around the same time the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation, so nobody knew how successful Donkey Kong Country was going to be.
But thanks to the 3D model appeal, all I can say is, it's not that hard to find a physical copy because there are over 9 million of them. In fact, it's the second best selling Super Nintendo game, only behind Super Mario World. This helped spark interest back into the Super Nintendo the same way Pokemon did for the Game Boy. 8.5 out of 10 is my rating.
This is exactly what happens when a gaming company decides to put quality over quantity. You get a system-pushing masterpiece.
Donkey Kong would then become one of Nintendo's signature mascots along the likes of Mario and Zelda, and the character design would still be used to this day. After DKC, 2 more sequels came out on the Super Nintendo, then one on the N64, one on the Wii, and one on the Wii U, with spin-offs to follow.
And it's all thanks to Rare and this game.
Here are some other reviews worth watching, and also, I've been having a go at Let's Plays, which is also worth checking out on. But more importantly, hitting the subscribe button below is the best option. Either way, thanks for watching.